All right, thanks, guys. Happy Friday to you. We're currently 8-3 in our last 11 board member package plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. We're also hitting at 67% for the entire college football season. Link for that website is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. The Mountaineers take on the Panthers tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off, West Virginia versus Pitt. WVU is minus 1.5. Total's 140.5. Now, we did see a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this game as West Virginia actually opened up as the underdog. We also saw movement downward on the total as well. The Mountaineers open plus 1.5. They're now minus 1.5. Total open 142 down to 140 and a hook. 61% of the consensus are leaning toward West Virginia. 79% shaded toward the over. Right now, Pitt is plus 110 on the money line. The Panthers are 2-1 straight up on the year, 2-1 against the spread. They've had successful covers of the number against Florida State and Robert Morris. They're led by Ryan Murphy, who's averaging 17 points a game, 4 rebounds. He's also shooting 47% from downtown. Now, Trey McGowan's is averaging 15 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4 assists as well. And Xavier Johnson, he's averaging 10 points a game, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Pittsburgh held their opponents to 59 points per game in their 2 wins on average. Now, West Virginia on the other side, they're 0-1 against the number. They failed to cover an 11-point spread against Akron. Now, total-wise, Pitt is 2-1 to the under on the year. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean Pitt Panthers plus 2. And the under 140.5 in that game. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Alabama taking on Rhode Island. And that is going to be a 7:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. Alabama's minus 1.5, totals 149. And similar to our first game, we have ourselves a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one. We also saw movement upward on the total. The Crimson Tide open plus 1, now minus 1.5. Total open 148 up to 149. 66% are leaning Alabama, 53% shaded toward the under. Right now, Rhode Island is plus 105 on the money line. Now, the Rams of Rhode Island, 0-2 against the spread on the year, failing to cover in their opening 2 games. They lost to Maryland 73-55 in their last game, barely competitive. They were actually catching 12 points in that loss to Maryland. Had no chance at covering that 12-point number where they were catching a dozen. Their offense is averaging just 65 points per game. Now, Alabama on the other side, they're led by Kira Lewis, who's averaging 23 points a game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He's also shooting 40% from downtown. Jaden Shackelford, 17 points a game, 5 rebounds. He's shooting 35% from downtown as well. John Petty Jr., he's averaging 8 boards a game, 9 points, 3 assists. And total-wise, Rhode Island on the other side, 2-0 to the under thus far in the year. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it down, and take Alabama minus 1 and the under 149 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Friday's college basketball action. Happy Friday to you. The weekend is finally here. Now, before we go ahead and move on, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out once again on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that website beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. We're currently 8-3 in our last 11 board member package plays. We're also hitting at 67% for the entire college football season on that website. Now, a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between Patreon and what you do right here on YouTube? Well, what we do here on YouTube is we formulate an opinion and handicap almost every single game on the board, both side and total, definitely in professional sports. And if you were to do that in real life and bet every single game, both the side and the total, you will not win. You're going to lose in the long run. The bookies are too smart, and the math is always against you. It's just too strong. You can't win money betting every single game, side and total. So what we do on Patreon is we really narrow it down and dial in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're personal plays of mine, high percentage selections. They're games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my record on Patreon is a lot better than it is on YouTube. So check that out. You can actually check it out right now. All you got to do is click the link in the description section below and check out my current record for free. It's right on the homepage. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into our next matchup. It is going to be Gonzaga taking on Texas A&M. 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Bulldogs of Gonzaga are -7. Totals 143. We saw a half a point move toward Gonzaga and movement downward on the total. The Bulldogs open 6.5 up to -7. Total open 144 down to 143. 64% are leaning Gonzaga. 58% shaded toward the over. Right now, Texas A&M is plus 250 on the money line. Now, the Aggies are 0-2 against the spread thus far in the year. They failed to cover against UL Monroe and Northwestern State. Josh Nebo and TJ Starks are out indefinitely for the Aggies. Meanwhile, Gonzaga on the other side, 3-0 straight up on the year, 2-1 against the spread in those games. They scored over 94 points in all three of their games this year. Philip Petrusev, 20 points a game, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. He's shooting 67% from the field. Joel Ayayi, 8 rebounds, 7 points for him. And Corey Kispert, 19 points a game on average, 62% from the field he's shooting. Now, total-wise, Gonzaga is 3-0 to the over. I'm going to lean toward the Bulldogs in this matchup here. Give me Gonzaga -7 and the over 143 in that game. And we're going to slide to our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be BYU taking on Houston. Battle of the Cougars. 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. Houston's -11.5. Total 141 and a hook. We saw a 1.5 point move toward Houston and movement downward on the total. Houston opened 10 up to -11.5. Total open 143 down to 141 and a hook. Houston's 1-0 straight up on the year, 1-0 against the spread. They defeated Alabama State 84-56. They were laying 28 points in that game and covered that spread handily. Marcus Sasser had 14 points. He shot 57% from downtown. He also shot 56% from the field. Quentin Grimes, 13 points for him, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 56% from the field as well. Fabian White and Caleb Mills each had 6 rebounds apiece for Houston. Now, BYU on the other side, they failed to cover in 2 out of their 3 games thus far in the year. They failed to cover against Southern Utah and San Diego State. Now, when it comes to this total, BYU is 2-1 to the under thus far for the year. I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take Houston -11 in the under 141.5 in that game. And we're going to slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are 8-3 in our last 11 board member package plays. I like Houston -11 under 141.5. I like Gonzaga -7 over 143. Alabama -1 under 149. And last but certainly not least, I like the Pitt Panthers +2 and the under 140.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 67% for the entire college football season on that website. Shout out to Zoran Duravich, Chris Temple, 66, Gio Lopez, Lamont Hartfield, Stephen Lewis, Ronnie Christie, Ulysses Hayes, Shotgun Shell 80, Z-Code System Free Picks, Tyler Schwab, Vinny Smoove, Tattoo Keese, Will Smurf, Square 707 Steam PS4, and last but certainly not least, shout out to John Lee. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I'm 8-3 in my last 11 board member package plays on that site. I'm also hitting at 67% for the entire college football season on that site as well. We do daily premium selections on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And a lot of folks will ask me, what's the difference between your YouTube program here and your Patreon page? Well, what we do here on YouTube is we pretty much handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total. Well, if you were to do that in real life and bet your hard-earned money on every single game, both the side and the total, you're almost guaranteed to lose in the long run because the books are too good, they're too smart, and the math is always against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really narrow it down and dial in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage plays that I am on. I'm playing personally. They're my personal plays. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a lot better than it is on YouTube. And you can check out that record for free right now. You can literally do it right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That is patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for watching me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I'll see you on patreon.com/BrockPage.